Good evening. This is News.PH, but it's not politics as usual. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Our guest tonight in this first segment of the show is relieved PNP Special Action Force Director, Police Director Getulio Leo Napeñas Jr. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for coming here to the studio.
Good evening, Ma'am Pia, and good evening to everyone
Sir,
who are listening to this program.
Sir, can you tell us first, you had already said in the last few days that General Purisima was the one who gave you the intel information for this. Can you tell us exactly when this took place? When did he give you that intel info?
The intelligence report was given to me by General Purisima in the early part of November. I was called in the White House on a Sunday evening about 10 o'clock to report personally to him, and he informed me personally about the intelligence that he's got regarding the location of Marwan and Abdul Basit Osman.
When he gave it to you, what were his specific instructions? What were his exact words?
He told me that I'm going to coordinate directly with the Director for Intelligence Group, Police Senior Superintendent Fernando Mendez, so that we will be able to get the whole of the intelligence packet, as we call it.
Did he mention President Aquino at any point in time?
No, Pia, no.
No. Okay, because General Catapang earlier was making the rounds of the media and is saying that President Aquino spoke to him in November also about this.
General Purisima didn't mention anything about President Aquino when we talked that night. It's purely that I'm going to get the intelligence packet and make coordination with Police Senior Superintendent Mendez.
Sir, at any time between this Sunday evening in November 2014, the early part of November 2014, until the day, until that day, January 25, were you ever in touch with President Aquino himself?
I have to start this way, Pia. After we get the intelligence packet, the operatives or the operating units, that's the seaborne company based in Zamboanga, started the mission planning, we call it. Then after 1 week, the seaborne command, the intelligence officer with the seaborne came to Manila. And we started working on the plan that they initially prepared. So we called on the battalion commander of the Rapid Deployment Battalion, our intelligence officer, the seaborne commander, the 5th Battalion commander, the 3rd Battalion commander, who is already based in Manila, but then he used to be the battalion commander in Central Mindanao, the Deputy Director SAF, and myself. We did the mission planning together. Okay,
and the names, sir? You mentioned the positions, but their names are?
The Deputy Director of Special Action Force is Police Chief Superintendent Noli Talino. Our Chief of Intelligence is Police Senior Superintendent Richard De La Rosa. The Commanding Officer of the Rapid Deployment Battalion is Police Superintendent Abraham Abayari. The Commanding Officer of the 5th Special Action Battalion is Police Superintendent Ray Arino. The Commanding Officer of the 3rd Battalion is Police Superintendent Michael Mangahis.
Okay, so you did mission planning in the first 1-2 weeks?
Yes,
okay.
That's right.
And then what happened after that, sir?
On November 29, after the preparations and mission planning, we launched Operation Plan Terminator. That's the code name of the operation plan. That's on November 29. Unfortunately, during the insertion phase of the operating elements that we are supposed to use a motorized banca, local banca, so that it will merge with the local populace when you're going to use them during the insertion to avoid compromise or detection. The equipment or the banca failed.
Okay.
And they did not work. So we have to abort the mission.
And then after that, merong Oplan Terminator 2. So
yes,
you resurrected the...
Yes, but before we launched Oplan Terminator 2, 2 days or 3 days, something like that, we reported to Director General Purisima and provided him the reason or the mission update of what have happened. It was then again myself Police Chief Superintendent Talino, our intelligence officer, Police Senior Superintendent De La Rosa, and Police Superintendent Train, the team leader of the operating elements. And we told him that the bangka didn't work.
Okay.
So
and anytime in an operation, para lang maintindihan ng mga civilian, anytime anything, no matter how small, goes wrong, abort. Ganun po ba yun?
It all depends.
Okay.
If it is really in danger, or it will compromise the operating elements going in, and they will be in danger, we have to abort. But if anything that would happen, or any incident that would happen, it will not cause compromise, or it will not cause alarm to the targets or to the people nearby, we may continue with the mission.
All right. So 2 days before December 12, 2014, when you launched Oplan Terminator 2, a continuation or a resurrection of Terminator, Oplan Terminator, you said you went to see Director General Purisima. At the time, he had not yet been suspended by the Ombudsman.
During the time, he's still the chief PNP.
He's still Chief PNP. Yeah. Okay. And then what happened?
We launched Oplan Terminator 2. But before that, General Purisima, together with Chief Superintendent Talino, Police Superintendent Train, and Police Superintendent De La Rosa, we provided the President a mission update. But it is General Purisima who was then providing the President the mission update. Oh,
so you gave General Purisima a mission update on 2 days before December 12?
No, 2 days after November 29.
2 days after November 29, you provided General Purisima the mission update, which he submitted to President Aquino.
It's a verbal mission update.
A verbal?
Because it's about, it's a weekend on that time that General Purisima and the group, and our group went to see the President, but then it was General Purisima who provided or rendered the mission update.
But you were there in the same room?
Yes.
Okay. Pero in other words, si General Purisima ang nagsasalita?
Yes.
Okay. So verbal mission update. So do you remember what General Purisima said?
I do not recall so much what had been said, but then when we left, we have to prepare for the Oplan Terminator 2.
What did the President say when General Purisima gave that verbal mission update?
I did not overheard a lot of the conversation of the President and General Purisima during that time then.
Okay. So, but I thought you were in the same room.
It's not a room. It's near the firing range, actually.
Firing range of?
At the Malacanang Park, at the
PSG.
The PSG. It was in that area.
Okay. Pero so silang dalawa lang nag-uusap?
Yes.
Okay. And when General Purisima went back to your group, kayo at saka sina General Talino and the other officers, did he say what the President said?
No, he didn't say.
Okay. So that is your answer, and then I have to go back a bit because I had asked you before you went into this timeline of the missions, the Oplans that were aborted and or continued. Because my question to you was, at any time between November, that early Sunday in November, and the day that you launched Oplan Exodus, did the President speak to you at all? And you answered by going through this timeline. So you're saying that the only time that you saw President Aquino was that day when that verbal mission update was made after Oplan Terminator. And there were no phone calls from the President directly to you?
No, we don't expect that thing to happen.
Okay. So talagang dumaan kay General Purisima?
When the President and General Purisima were talking, we were about 2 or 3 meters away. That's why we cannot really hear so much what they're talking.
Okay. But so General Purisima told you after na, sabi ni Presidente, ituloy natin. Meron bang ganon?
He did not say that one because after all, the operation plan in November 29, it was approved by General Purisima himself.
Okay. So you went to see the President, but General Purisima himself spoke to the President. You are not aware of what the President said?
I'm not very much aware of what they were talking.
There were no other instructions from the President?
No, not that I heard. I do not know if there are instructions to General Purisima.
Okay. But what were General Purisima's instructions to you?
We have to make another plan for another operation.
Okay.
Wherein we did the planning for Oplan Terminator 2.
Oplan Terminator 2 for December 12, 2014.
Yes.
At what point did General Purisima tell you that the President had instructed that you must coordinate with other units?
It's not yet at this time. We implemented Open Terminator 2 using our own boat, tactical boats, coming from Zamboanga.
Okay.
But then, during the insertion, there was a firefight, or the detachment of the army along our route of entry was harassed by armed group. So we have to delay. Then eventually, we were able to get in when the firefight was over. But then during the travel or the insertion phase of the operation, that the boat were moving towards the target, approximately 2 kilometers from the place that they will drop off and board the boat, there was an engagement with armed groups along the river.
So na-abort din siya?
So we have to abort that operation because the people in the area would have been alerted because of the gunfire that was heard.
Okay. So how did we get to this point? We have Oplan Exodus, January 2015.
Yeah. After the Oplan Terminator 2, again, we provided mission update or the reason why, what happened in that operation Terminator 2 to General Purisima.
Okay.
That is mandatory, or it's automatic that whatever happened, we have to report to the approving authority of the operation plan.
So pinuntahan niyo siya sa White House.
Yes.
By that time, was he already suspended by the Ombudsman?
He was already suspended at that time.
Okay. But it is SOP? Ganun po ba?
Yes, because of the time that since we were working on the operations against Marwan, even during the April 25, 2014 operations, when he was still the Chief PNP, and the November 29, the Chief PNP, it's a continuing project or continuing operation that he has. And based on the intelligence that he has got, that I mentioned you earlier, that he was the one personally who called me at the White House regarding the intelligence packet.
Okay. And the funding for these operations came from where?
It all came from the Special Action Force.
Special Action Force. How much?
We don't get funds from, we use our own funds.
Was at any time during the planning stage when General Purisima would speak to you about this, and when you would talk to him about updates, was there any mention about the MILF going into MILF territory and the need to kailangan idaan to sa peace panel para walang aberya? Meron bang ganon?
The peace process was never mentioned in all the time that we were doing or we were presenting the operation plan or whenever we have the mission update.
But wasn't this area where you were going into where Marwan wasn't this considered MILF and or BIFF territory?
It's a gray area because it's a gray area, but it's near or within the MILF area. But the MILF, if you see, it's a village. It's not really a camp. That's why it's a gray area that they may or may not say that it's MILF territory because it's a village that this Marwan, it's near the residence of the MILFs.
Okay. General Catapang claims that you, the SAF, the PNP, asked for reinforcements too late.
I informed the 6th Division Commander at about 5 in the morning.
5 o'clock in the morning,
Through a text message. And if I may refer what time that they started to deploy, that's something about 8:30 in the morning when the first group of mechanized and infantry arrived at the area.
Okay, mechanized meaning
that's
tanks.
The tanks. The
okay.
Armored personnel carrier.
Infantry meaning foot soldiers.
Foot soldier. Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Would a mechanized division have been helpful in this?
It helped a lot, but then it would not really ease the situation because the engagement is about 2 kilometers from the highway, and the mechanized, the armored personnel carrier, cannot move into the area because there is a river and it is low ground.
General Peñas, did you choose to, on purpose, not include in the coordination the different army generals early on because of how do you say this, the sensitivity of the intelligence information? Was that part of the deal?
We call it the operation security. It's a balance that we have to undertake to coordinate or not because of operation security to avoid to be compromised or to be tipped off. Because if they will be tipped off, 2 things will happen. They will set up an ambush or they will just get away. It's a judgment of the commander
Okay.
which I recommend to General Purisima when we had the operation plan approved, based on the recommendation of also of the intelligence officers, particularly the director of the intelligence group, our intelligence officers, and based on historical records. And that came up in the operation plan, in the coordination matrix, as we call it, that the coordination shall be made with the Armed Forces of the Philippines when the troops are already in the ground.
Just to clarify, sir, sabi nyo, so you texted at 5 a.m. si General Guerrero, hindi ba? Ay, Pangilinan.
Pangilinan.
Oo. So, mga 6 a.m. daw niya nabasa. Ang dumating, mechanized, meaning tanke, and infantry, meaning foot soldier.
Yes, ma'am.
Anong, hindi ba kayo humingi ng air and artillery support?
It was about, if I'm going to refer, it's about 9 o'clock or 8:30 when I started requesting for the artillery support. I sent a text message to General Pena and General Purisima. Sir, this is the location of SAF troops. So I give them the grid coordinates. This was extracted from the text messages in my cell phone. Okay. The first GC mga kalaban and tuloy pa rin heavy firefight, sir. Napin down tropa sa first grid coordinate at meron mga casualties sila. Baka pwede hingi artillery support sa AFP.
Okay.
Tinext ko rin si Police Chief Superintendent Talino at that time, kasi during that time, General Talino was already at the brigade headquarters of the mechanized brigade making coordination. And I give him also the same grid coordinates and telling him to request for artillery support. That's about 753 and 755.
Not air?
Not air support, but it's artillery support.
Okay. Sir, there was a story in another network, no? Ang sabi, they had a source in the army who said that there were 300 SAF troopers along the highway, including you, and the army had asked you guys na sumama sa kanila para mag-reinforce. And you refused daw. Kayo at yung mga tao nyo. Totoo pa po ba yun?
The very first statement that I was in the ground is already untrue. I was then at the tactical command post at the Maguindanao Police Provincial Office in Sharif Aguac, Maguindanao.
Okay. Well, the other part of the statement, did your men refuse to go with the army to reinforce your men?
Again, I will refute that one. There is no truth in that because our 200 men are already inside, way behind the 55th company that is being attacked or being engaged inside the area.
Okay.
The only persons that were left along the road are the vehicles and our advanced command post, numbering not more than 30. It's only about 20. They are all inside already, providing support. They're trying to get into the position of the 55th company to reinforce them.
Okay. On the day before this encounter, the President, together with other officials, including military and PNP, was in Zamboanga City, correct?
I only heard that in the news already, Ma'am Pia.
Oh, but okay. Well, people were presuming that he was there. This is after the fact, no? Na he was there so that kapag successful, nakuha niyo si Marwan, dadalhin niyo sa Cotabato, etc. No? Para bang he was there, ready to receive them.
I do not know
you don't
really
know
the truth of the matter. I do not know really.
Okay. Okay. So, and a while ago you were reading the text message you sent. Sir, I'm sorry, do you mind bringing out your phone? Can I read it from your phone?
Yes.
Because you say that you also provided coordinates.
Yes.
GPS coordinates,
Yes.
no? And it's there?
Yes.
It's in your text message?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because ang isang sinabi ng AFP, wala daw na ibigay na coordinates.
Yes.
Well, it's here, of course. It's written here, and we will show this later. It's written here in your report, but we'd like to see it on your phone also. Not that I don't believe you, sir. It's just that, we might as well be very thorough about this. Okay. So, sabi nyo, artillery support, sir, di ba?
Yes.
Ang humingi nyo. Hindi kayo humingi ng air support. Artillery kasi is, can you define that for us, for mga civilians?
It's a howitzer or a cannon.
Okay. So, parang launched from land,
Yes,
no? Okay.
it's launched from land.
Yung air support, sir, ba't hindi kayo humingi? Why did you not ask for air support?
Hindi ko na hiningi yung air support dahil I don't know kung magiging effective doon. Considering na ang daming armado doon sa lugar na yon, baka kung magpadala ng helicopter,
baka
it will just
yung
do more
chopper
damage.
patirahin. Okay.
It will just do more damage.
Yeah. I'm sorry to be makulit, sir, but can I see the text message where you ask for
kasi ang
artillery
daming text
support?
message eh.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay. So that's one thing, There's also okay. You were speaking all the while from the beginning of this whole chain of events, no?
Yeah.
To General Purisima, Director General Purisima.
It's not only General Purisima but also to General Espina.
The General Espina.
Yeah.
Sir, but not only on the morning of the 25th. That's when you texted General Espina.
Yes.
Okay. Why did it happen that you were speaking only to General Purisima, but General Espina, who was already OIC at a certain point in time, was not informed, and neither was Secretary Mar Rojas? How did that happen, sir?
Yes, because I said earlier that the operation plan from the time that we started doing it in April 25 of 2014, it was already approved by General Purisima. The November 30 was also approved by General Purisima, who was then providing us the intelligence. That's why it's a continuing operation then.
Yeah.
That's why we have to inform General Purisima about it. But then I also...
I understand, sir, why you need to speak to General Purisima. My question is, why didn't you inform Secretary Mar Rojas and General Espina later on?
I wish that I could have that authority na bypass the OIC PNP, which I could not because of the chain of command of the Philippine National Police, that I should be rendering report to the OIC PNP.
No, sir. What I meant was you weren't informing Secretary Mar Rojas either, and you only informed General Espina that morning.
Yes.
Was there any... maybe we can just set aside yung kung ano man yung nagiging animosity sa kanya or whatever.
Now I understand
Was there any instruction whatsoever? Sir, honestly,
Yeah, I understand.
Sir, all right, nakita.
I will answer it.
Yeah,
very
okay.
now.
And was there any instruction whatsoever? Do not tell Secretary Mar Rojas or do not tell later on General Espina, or was it ako lang ang kausap mo, ha? Yung ba ang sinabi ni General Purisima sa inyo?
That was an instruction of General Purisima after we presented Oplan Terminator 1 to
Oplan Terminator 1, which was for November 29, 2014.
Yes.
His instruction was what exactly, sir?
Not to inform General Espina. We will inform him after or once we are on the ground.
Once you're on the ground.
Let me stand corrected, Pia.
Yes.
It's not the November 29.
For the January.
It's the December.
December 12. Okay.
December 12.
Okay, a correction.
Because in November 29, he was still then the chief PNP.
Yes. Okay.
It's
So for the December 12 Oplan Terminator 2, which was also aborted, the instructions of General Purisima to you was, let's not inform General Espina. Only when you are on the ground.
Only when we are on the target.
On the target. Meaning kapag nakuha nyo na si Marwan.
Pag nandun na or ongoing yung
ongoing and positive na nandun siya.
Yes.
Na, okay. And what about anything that General Purisima said about Secretary Mar Rojas?
If I may recall, sabi niya, wag muna natin sabihan yung dalawa. Yan ang statement ni General Purisima.
Yung dalawa?
Yes.
When did he say that, sir? Before the December 12?
Before the
December 12, Oplan Terminator 2.
Yes.
Yung dalawa. When he said yung dalawa, you knew right away that it meant
it's referring
Secmar
to Secretary and General Espina.
How do you know that that's what he was those were what he was referring to?
Kasi how do I know that? It's General Espina because he's the OIC. And that's really the statement when you say yung dalawa, it refers to Police Deputy Director General Espina at saka si Secretary Mar.
Okay, so parang leave them in the dark. But did you get any feeling na galing sa mas mataas sa kanya or talagang sa kanya lang yon? Na wag nating i-inform yung dalawa. Saan kaya galing yon?
That I cannot answer, ma'am.
That you cannot answer. Okay. So is there anything you would have done differently?
When we prepared for this mission, in all the operations, the three of them, the Terminator 1 and 2, then the Exodus, we did a lot of preparations. Mission planning, exercise, live firing, night firing, tactical combat casualty care, the preparation of the boats, the preparation of the men. And I have to say that we even get the services of a local person that will provide us vital information of the area, our agents on the grounds. We did a lot of consideration on the timeline so that we will be able to reach the target and make use of the cover of darkness to hit the target and be able to get out while it's still dark.
Okay.
I even sent the chief of the intelligence and the commander of the Rapid Deployment Battalion and the commander of the 3rd Battalion to Zamboanga 3 days before January, the operation in January 25, just to make sure that the operating elements from Zamboanga, the 5th Battalion, the 55th Company, and the Seaborne or the 84th are properly prepared. They have to make sure that everything is in order for the operation and glitches should be covered for the purpose.
Okay. Sir, who has the DNA sample of Marwan?
It's with the, I was informed that it's with the FBI now.
With the FBI. Was there an official request made for a DNA test?
It's not, I don't know who.
Okay. Pero kanino po yun? Sino pong may responsibility for that?
It's the investigation unit or it's somebody else because we do not do investigation, Pia. We are a tactical unit.
Yeah. But you are sure you got him?
The intelligence that we have is very credible. It has a very high credibility. And we should not be going there if that intelligence is not credible, really. Because we know that it is too risky and it's too dangerous out there.
Yes. Yung sinabing Mike, ano yun? Mike 1? Mike 1, bingo. Whose voice was that again?
That's the voice of Police Superintendent Train, the team leader of the operating.
And he was referring to Marwan. Okay. Meaning he, Train, was positive that that was Marwan.
Yeah.
Was it too high a price to pay to get Marwan? 44 dead of the SAF?
If you ask me on that, maybe we could ask better the people of Mindanao who are constantly being threatened of bomb by the minute, by the hour, coming from Marwan and Dulubasit, Osman. I was provincial director of South Cotabato in 2005 to 2007. Every minute, we are being threatened by bombs coming from these two. And the people that they trained together who would make bombs and being delivered in the areas of Coronadal, South Cotabato, General Santos, Davao, North Cotabato, Cotabato City.
Yeah. Okay.
If we ask them, I would say it's worth it. Why? Because these two are very dangerous men, are making bombs that would probably not only kill hundreds, maybe thousands, if they will still be roaming around in the ground.
Okay. Sir, in the last few days since January 25, we've been witness to this display of emotions. No? So many people are angry, so much grief, so much anger, like we said. No? And you have the Villamor ceremonies, you have what happened at the necrological services in Camp Bagong Diwa and Taguig. You have the president facing the SAF. No? You were there, I suppose, sir, when he spoke to the SAF after speaking to the families, the SAF troopers, all in line, and he was speaking to them and then asking, meron po bang mga tanong, meron po ba kayong gustong sabihin, do you have any questions, do you have anything to say, and tahimik lang.
Yes.
Anong ibig sabihin nun? What did that long silence mean?
I really cannot give an opinion or speculation on that one, Pia. It's too hard. But then...
Well, ano po yung sentimiento ngayon ng mga SAF troopers?
The SAF troopers, they did the job. It's an operation worth it because they also believe and they're committed that if these two guys will continue to be roaming around, even their families or themselves, because there we have a lot of troops from Zamboanga, and bombs are being exploded in Zamboanga. To cite an example is the senior police non-commissioned officer of the Seaborne, the 84th. He's quite a little bit old now, more than 30. His statement was that, I joined the operation, sir, because my wife and my mother always pass in the area where bombs are exploded in Zamboanga. It's time that we have to stand and do this operation to get these two very dangerous men.
Okay. At any point, sir, did you feel that, was it important that someone would pick up the phone and tell the MILF and or the BIFF to stand down?
Yes, I suppose that that could be done because in the coordination that we made, we called the ADJAG and the Committee on Ceasefire and Cessation of Hostilities. The text message that we got, it's also the same.
Yes.
I had a chance to talk personally with Major de la Cruz, who was then the ADJAG. But then he told me that it's already General Orense. So I called General Orense. It's also in the text message that I got the number of General Orense, but then I had the opportunity to talk with him personally.
Okay, okay. But if the call had come from higher ups,
well, maybe it could have made a difference.
Okay.
We cannot speculate so much.
Yeah. You know, one big question, and this is my last question to you, one big question that media and the people are asking now is, what exactly was President Aquino's involvement in all of this? Can you tell us, sir, from where you are?
The time that we did the mission update to the President, I think that's it, because after all, the operation plan was approved by the Chief PNP, General Purisima, from the very beginning in April and until the November operation.
Okay. Final word, sir?
My final word is I hope that we would be able to see the sacrifices of the 4 fallen heroes of the Special Action Force. They've done a very great job. The unit, the Special Action Force, accomplished the mission given to them. The 55th Special Action Company, who hold their ground to make sure that the 84th Company will be able to get out, I consider them as the heroes, really. Otherwise, the 84th Company who got Marwan would not have been able to get out. It's a sacrifice. It's a costly price of the operation. But as I've said, we were able to get the job done. And again, if I may say that these 2 very dangerous men would be able, maybe they could be able to kill hundreds or thousands more if they're still roaming around at this time. And the 44 guys, to me, it's sad, really, especially to the families. But as I've said, we accomplished the mission.
Thank you very much, Police Director Leo Napeñas. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, and good evening.
We'll take a short break. Please stay with us. News.PH will be right back. Welcome back to News.PH. I'm Pio Ontiveros. We have with us tonight Rafael Alunan III, former Interior Secretary during the time of former President Fidel Ramos. He's an honorary member of the Philippine Constabulary Special Action Force, PCSAF, now PNP SAF. Good evening, Secretary Alunan. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Pia. Thank you for inviting me.
What is your feeling, or what do you feel about what happened in Mamasapan?
Well, the jury's still out, but from the facts I've gathered in the field and from those who participated, you know, this was a very risky operation. Secrecy was crucial, which is why there was minimal coordination, meaning to say there was coordination at the last minute to prevent
any leakage.
Because in the past there were attempts to arrest Marwan. They did the usual coordination, and each time Marwan disappeared because of a leak. So this time around, I understand they didn't want that to happen. But they also understood the risk of not coordinating with enough time allowance, because it takes time when you coordinate with the armed forces for orders to, for the information to go up down the line and for the instructions to be, and orders to be handed down. So when trouble broke out and the SAF units were being impacted by both the BIFF and the MILF. Our units who were stationed in other parts of the battleground or battle area could not just leave their posts to save or rescue their comrades, because they had specific taskings, they had specific missions. And that's why they were deployed in those areas. Unfortunately, the armed forces could not respond in time, precisely because it takes time to really work things out up and down their own respective chains of command. Right? Yeah. So it's not that there was no coordination, it's just that the coordination was at the last minute. And therefore they could not react fast enough.
Yeah. Well, General Catapang earlier today making the rounds of different networks explaining that they knew about this in November. The President himself told him about it in November. Okay,
well then if that's the case, there's that other aspect of coordination where the chain of command, if the chain of command was intact, would have done what we call the completed staff work, coordinating up and down the line and also with lateral parties. No? But in this particular case, one of the glaring mistakes was that the chain of command was broken. It's very clear that the chairman of the National Police Commission, who is concurrently the Secretary of Interior and Local Government, who has a direct line to the President and to the Anti-Terror Council Chair, who is the Executive Secretary, did not know. The acting Chief PNP also did not know. They were both bypassed. And so because of that, because of the tragedy, the man-made disaster that followed, command responsibility is now just at the level of the President and the sidelined Chief PNP.
Could that decision to not, or to bypass the Secretary of the Interior and the acting Chief PNP, could that have come from General Napeñas'
I don't think so. I think from what I understand, that came from the sideline Chief PNP. The information I get, and of course they have to, this has to be validated by other parties, but the information I get is that there's this animosity between him and Secretary Rojas, so much so that they left him out of the loop. I think that was a slap in the face.
Okay, but it did come from President Aquino.
I have no idea. I cannot answer that. But I would think that if a commander-in-chief was properly trained for the job, he'd make sure that everything was in order, that the entire chain of command would have been informed, and that there would have been completed staff work before the order to go was given.
What do you mean by if the commander-in-chief had been properly trained for the job?
Well, apparently he doesn't know what he's doing. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed the chain of command to be broken.
As someone who was very close to President Ramos, who helped in his campaign and was in his cabinet also, and until now very close, and if you were in that group of advisors of President Aquino, would you have advised him to go ahead and go to the Mitsubishi plant opening appointment and skip the Villamor Air Base ceremony?
No, I would have told him to go to both. Besides, he had the helicopter. He could easily have made it to both sites on time. As a matter of fact, I do know that President Ramos was at the Mitsubishi plant and at the Villamor plant, and he was at the Villamor Air Base, and he traveled by car, and he made it to both on time. So there's no excuse for someone with a helicopter not to make it.
Your thoughts on the President's eulogy at the Necrological Services, and you're coming from both perspectives, as an honorary SAF and as someone who worked very closely with the former President, with the former Commander-in-Chief.
What I gathered was that he seemed to be rushing it. There was no emotion, no connection to the people who were there. He was talking about Ninoy, his father. I think he was just trying to establish a connection that I feel just as much as you.
You do.
Because I lost also a loved one. I also noted that the reception by the families were very cold. no, was very cold. That included, I think, I think he spoke to the SAF troopers at the end of the necrological services sometime during the night. And from what I saw in the postings in social media, he got a very cold reception.
Did you get to see that video?
I saw that video and I was, my heart...
As an honorary SAF, kapag hindi umimik ang mga SAF, anong ibig sabihin nun?
Well, that means that you've lost your connection. The leader has lost his connection and he stopped leading. As far as he's concerned, parang tinalikuran na siya.
Pero hindi naman siya tinalikuran.
Physically hindi.
Physically hindi.
Yeah, but mentally at saka sa puso, mukhang wala na. Parang nawala na yung connection. Huwag naman sana kasi there's still time for the president to recover. But I hope that he's more open to, criticism because it's in his humility to accept criticism that he could improve himself as a person. He could be a better president and he could be a better commander-in-chief. I think, he should look at it from that standpoint, that when people give constructive criticism, sometimes can be very painful, it's also meant to just tell him, please shape up. Because you'll be here with us until June 2016. And we still have a lot of things to do, and you got to be better than what you are today. Yeah.
On social media and among circles of discussion and all the talk, some people are saying, I don't know where they're getting it, or why is there talk about coup attempts or destabilization? Why do you want him out of office? Ang susunod niyan, si Vice President Binay, marami may ganon.
Yeah.
Tao nagsasalita ng ganyan, di ba?
Yeah, there are some people who will talk that way, but and I know that there's a widespread disappointment with the incumbent administration. But I think it's important also for us now to elevate the conversation to a higher level, because here we're dealing with the state of our nation, the state of our state. The state of being, the way we are today, the state of our democracy. It's clear that we're seeing weakness all around. Weakness as a society, weakness as a government, weakness in our democratic institutions and systems. And that message, the message that's coming across is all of us have to shape up. We have to make democracy work. We have to make our freedoms worth make it work for the future of our children and grandchildren. We have to be a just society in order to get the government we deserve. And we have to be very, very careful about the choices we make every day. Because the sum total of our choices that we make every day will determine the course of our nation. Either we move forward, we stay stuck, or we regress. Either we go up or we sink. So this is a good time for us to reflect on why we are like this. And why people are saying, well, we can't get this guy out, even if he's a lousy guy, because the next guy is also lousy, right? But we made those democratic choices, right or wrong.
So we should stick by them.
We should stick by them. We should learn our lessons from the mistakes that we've made, and hopefully emerge wiser for it, and not make the same mistakes in the future. I guess we just have to go through the painful process of maturation, right? And we should remember that for every choice that we make, there will be consequences. Good consequences or bad consequences. But either way, we have to be very conscious about that. Oftentimes, we don't think about consequences. We just think of choices, and most of the time, the choices are wrong or bad.
Okay. Final words, Secretary Alunan, about this whole incident and when you talk about moving forward and going up.
Well, when I was in government at the DILG, we asked ourselves, how do you define good government? How do you make it understood to the Filipino people? And after a long discussion, some genius said, "Sir, we can describe good government in 2 words." And these two words are 2 sides of the same coin. Both have to be present for good government to take place. One is matino, the other is mahusay. Matino meaning doing the right things, and mahusay meaning doing things right. And if government is like that, it's matino and mahusay, then we will have good government.
So hindi pwedeng matino lang. Hindi rin pwedeng mahusay lang.
Correct. Both have to go hand in hand. You could be very good, pero if you have no moral moorings, then you'll have thieves all over the place na magagaling, right? On the other hand, if you're good, right, you make the right choices, right, but you don't know how to go about it, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So they have to go hand in hand. And the same thing applies to society. Society has to be matino and mahusay, because if they're not matino and mahusay, they're not going to get the government that they deserve. Right. So it applies across the board and down the line. And I guess those are values and virtues that we have to live by every day in order to lift our nation higher and higher and build a better Philippines.
Secretary Ruffy Biazon, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Pia.
We'll take a short break. News.PH will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to News.PH. I'm Pia Ontiveros. We have with us tonight retired Deputy Director General Reynaldo Velasco of the Philippine National Police. He was the first SAF commander from 1983 to 1987 and former Deputy Chief PNP for administration until 2005 when he retired. He is a graduate of the Philippine Military Academy class of 1971. Good evening, General Velasco. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Pia. Thank you very much.
Sir, you are SAF. What was it like?
I'm very proud of this app. It was the elite unit as envisioned by J. Ramos and Secretary de Villa when J. Ramos was Chief PNP and J. de Villa was the Director for Operations. And it was probably one of the shining moments in my career to lead an elite unit like this app. Actually was composed of original members who are all graduates of Ranger, U.S. Ranger Corps, Australian Ranger Corps, and other special course abroad. That was a corps of about 160 people. From then on, we expanded it to 500, which is the normal strength of a battalion. So the new recruits have to undergo, first, the basic recruit training, which is actually more on police work. And then at that time, they have to undergo 3 months of commando course, which is actually a mix of Ranger and Special Forces.
Ranger, of course, Army.
Yeah, Army. See, we cross-train with the Army and even the Marines. And a 1-month test mission to test what they have learned. So during my time, before we can allow the troops to go out on test mission, practically they have gone through about 7 months of training.
Tagaligtas is the, what is that, the motto or the
theme? Tagaligtas means that we have to safeguard everybody. And that's what these people did. They put their life on the line to save more people from being killed. That's why they took the vision of getting an international terrorist. So I've been doing a lot of bombing in Mindanao. So they have to expose themselves, sacrifice their lives, because they want to make sure that the Filipino people will live in peace.
Could we have done it, sir, with lesser casualties?
Given all these things that there are some mistakes, probably there were some mistakes. I don't know what will happen to the Board of Inquiry. But the ground commander started making coordination as early as 5:30 when Marwan was already taken. And what he was asking was for enforcement because his 300 people cannot aim or penetrate. Imagine 73 people fighting about probably 1,500 people. Even 300 people to reinforce and these people are entrenched in their area, is almost impossible. That's why the need for aerial support, which I think the commander on the ground, General Piñas, did. I don't know why the commander on the ground, on the part of the armed forces, took him up to 5:30 in the afternoon to fire the necessary support. And that was to save the entry force, which is under Colonel Train. Maybe if they did that earlier, maybe there were casualties, considering that about 1,500 fired at you and you were only 35. Pero we could have even put in about warning shot like white phosphorus as we always do. That will scare them already away, and probably that would have made it easier to rescue them. But it did not happen. Now, I said I will not judge on the decisions of ground commander. They must have good reasons. But we could have saved more lives if we did it. So claiming that Napiñas did not coordinate, maybe is wrong. Claiming that the 300 did not move and they're just sitting down is correct. But would you again allow 300 people to die more as a commander to face about 1,500 people entrenched, and then you're just going through a cornfield to attack them?
The SAF could not have coordinated before the fact. Kailangan makuha muna si Marwan para sigurado.
No.
Kasi baka mag-leak yung intel.
It's actually, I would say, it's commander's call. It is a surgical operation. And probably he thought that he can do it as fast. In fact, I asked them, how about plan A, plan B? I said, no plan A, plan B, because going to other areas, withdrawing to other areas are even more dangerous. So they have to go through the same road. It's actually a violation of Ranger tactics, but given the option, he has no other recourse. But he was hoping that it can be done so fast, and that given the peace process, for the MILF to respect, the MILF is claiming that it's not their area. They are claiming that Marwan and Usman, Basit Usman, are not with them. The target is Usman and Marwan. Or why should they react? Because they are protecting him. To tell now that they have nothing to do with it, I think we are too naive to believe that one. I cannot understand that. I will never believe that.
Would it have helped if the president picked up the phone and called the MILF leadership?
Maybe. Ideally, it could have been the most ideal. But it doesn't have even to be the president. Maybe the advisors, because they have in contact with the MILF. But from what I gathered, the commanders on the ground even put out their cell phone. So the question here is the MILF leadership in control of their men on the ground?
Yeah. So you were ARMM commander some time ago. What is the culture of the MILF in the Muslim world like?
The culture is that if you are in government, you should have to be on top of the situation. You can never be weak. You can never be meek. You have to show your strength. And when you tell them, I'm going to do this, do it. You cannot just say, hey, you help me, let us make this process work. I think that does not work. I had been an armed commander, they helped me a lot. They kidnapped 22 students on my first week.
Okay.
They give it back to me without hurting anything.
Yeah. What did you do? Tinakot niyo sila?
I just asked some of my people that if they will kidnap them, we will also kidnap those relatives of those people who kidnapped them. If they can do that to a Mayor General, why can't they do that now to a president, asking them now to produce Basit, return the firearms, and make the people responsible, produce them, and put to the bar of justice?
So what did you think when the president did not attend the Villamor ceremonies?
I was sad because I think he was ill-advised. Sana man lang, meron mo 44 yan na heroes napatay so that the Philippines will be safe. And the Commander-in-Chief hindi man lang sumilip. Maybe that is what is in the hearts, not only of the relatives, but I think this is what is brewing now among Filipinos. They expect the Commander-in-Chief. But whoever advised him, I hope they will make adjustments later on. And I think even the speech, I was there during the
necrological services.
necrological. Even the way he demanded these three things, it was not as strong as the SAP expected it to be. And even the statement that if he gets more angry, more damage will be done. I think if he gets angry, the faster the MILF will move to reply and answer his demands. But everybody wants peace. But I think we should not sacrifice a lot because we wanted peace. Because even the peace process, there are a lot of things we have to study. We have to consider. So I think government has bended enough. Given the atmosphere, given the Mama Sapano incident, I think some of the congressmen and senators are right now in trying to scrutinize and dig deeper into the provisions. Maybe if this is the result of the bravery and the sacrifice of the SAP, maybe in part we have given justice to them.
The SAF, the elite unit of the Philippine National Police, anti-terror unit, is also the anti-coup force of the Philippine National Police. Correct, sir?
The SAP troopers, and of course the leader, Jan Ramos, and Secretary really believed that the legitimate president was President Cory Aquino. We helped to make sure that President Aquino will become president after she was cheated. And I would like to say here that among so many stories about EDSA 1, there are so many people involved. But to my knowledge, there are only 4 battalions actually na talagang buo. I would like to remind everybody here that SAP never turned its back against the president. I hope that will be on record. And SAP never went against the will of the people.
On Sunday, Secretary Mar Rojas of the DILG had a forum, a discussion with several SAF troopers in Camp Bagong Diwa. And one of them said something very telling that, and we paraphrase him, he was saying that this government cannot protect us, but we are fighting for this government, etc. No? Merong ganong mga damdamin na lumalabas.
Maybe emotional na yan. Sobra naman na yan. I think siguro ang direct term is kulang yung naipakitang suporta sa kanila. Kasi kung tama ang suporta na ibigay sa kanila, hindi ganun karami ang mamamatay sa kanila. Thus, SAP is not just tagaligtas. PNP should be tagaligtas because that is their sole mission.
General Velasco, yesterday a video circulated, the president speaking to SAF troopers at the end of the day. He had that whole half day where he spoke to the families of the fallen 44. And then afterwards, kausap niya yung mga tropa ng SAF. There was a point there where at the end, he asks the troopers kung meron silang sasabihin or may tanong, tahimik lang sila. We'll watch this video for a while.
Ito rin ako, baka may gusto kayo sabihin sa akin. May susunod na araw, mag-uusap pa rin tayo ulit. Pero baka meron kayong gusto sabihin sa akin ngayon, hindi daw para handa makinig. So, bigay ko sa inyo. Sabihin niyo. Sorry. Chief Superintendent, baka meron kayong gustong parating sa akin ngayon. Anybody, please feel free to speak up.
General Velasco, my question is, what did that long silence mean when he was talking about his own experience of losing a loved one to a very violent death?
I think it was not the proper time to, you cannot ask grieving people to grieve for you. The people wanted sympathy. They cannot expect that the answer will be them sympathizing with somebody. I have not talked to them, but I was there.
Yeah.
I felt it.
And you felt it?
I felt it. Being the commander, I felt bad about it. 10 hours of fighting, 44 people died. I think no less than a Medal of Valor is deserving. Because if you are a Medal of Valor awardee, your son can even go to PMA without entrance examination. What
is it the president needs to do? If you were his advisor at this point in time, after all, this is a PNP matter also. What is it the president should do now? What is it that the Philippine National Police should do now?
First is I think the president now should pursue his demands, and it should not be delayed. Second, probably, he should make a very, I think there is now a clamor for leadership in the PNP. I think he should study that very well and make the right move. I work with Pena. He's a very good officer. But given his the position as OIC, you know, it's very difficult. It was just like General Lastimoso, General Larusa. They cannot do it. There is somebody there who is the de facto chief PNP. I think Espina can do it, but his problem is that he has only, I think, 5 months or 6 months na lang. But if the clamor has to be answered, I think it's about time that the president should put there somebody who has the respect of the entire Philippine National Police. And that should be somebody who has the service reputation, and hopefully somebody who has gone through all the aspects of command, from company commander, provincial commander, regional commander, have gone through all the major regional areas of the Philippines, meaning Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon. He has gone through staff and even various command positions up to regional level. I don't think it's not a very difficult thing to do. There are a lot of good officers there, and I hope they will get the right choice. Hindi lang yung kakilala ko, kaibigan ko, hindi ko kilala, hindi pwede. I think, anyway, the president should now get out from hindi ko kasi kilala. I think he should now look at a PNP officer who is truly professional, but somebody who earns the respect of all the officers and men. That is very important. Kasi pag commander ka, wala kang respeto, hindi ka ginagalang, kakayanin ka. Not directly, but in some ways, like, bakit hindi ako tatanggap? Tumatanggap yan. Those kind of things. But if you have a commander who epitomizes the real leadership, that the rank and file will follow, that is your chief PNP. Kilala mo man o hindi yan, kung magaling yan, tatrabaho yan para sa iyo.
Thank you very much for joining us, General Reynaldo Velasco. Thank you.
Maraming salamat din po.
And thank you for watching. See you again next Wednesday. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Good night.